teach this in computer science. I don't have any idea. No, this will help for
Yeah.
sure. Um, because this is written in kind of a C code, um, which would definitely help. And it's doing things like it's telling this where the orders are being sent, right? So AWS, blah blah blah. This is our server. So yeah, no, to someone it will make a lot more sense. But even if this was just written differently, so like for example, right here, it's a good today order, and it's connected through our simulator, and it's like all of these things you can read, right? The position
Right.
is, but it's like if it was just presented in a better way. Um,
If it wasn't so damn long.
so no, this
Yeah.
is because this just says $50 logs.
What are you thinking about over there, Andy? Hiring somebody with a background? Something there?
That was very
Okay.
yeah, and I got a guy who sent me in a really nice, a really good email, and he's been with us for 4 years,
Oh, okay.
has
Well,
a
good to know
degree in
because
computer science, and yeah.
I was gonna let the other two guys know that I spoke to you briefly, but I copied and pasted and sent it right to Dan in the back channel. Dan, how are we going to do this? And his response is, we're going to make them all go through the simulation process first. They can't go live until they've been hard coded through the levels of training. And I said, well, great, but that doesn't solve my question. Now we're just going to be holding their hands to eternity through the simulation process. I mean, how are we going to get these fucking people to align themselves and be efficient? Because we're going to need about 10 more of us here
Yeah.
if things go the way he says they're going. So I'm going to be with him on Friday on the outdoor office. So if you guys want me to suggest anything or bring any of that stuff up, let me know.
The biggest thing he could do, and I really think he could do this, is if he took Dave to task on simplifying these logs, and that's
Okay?
just the word
Yes.
used is
Or
simplify the
yeah,
log.
or even if
He would
Dave could
really,
spend half an hour with us going over some of the stuff that just doesn't make sense, like this long stuff. I mean, if I don't know if
yeah,
that's possible or if he can make sense of it for us.
no, I think it's kind of because eventually we want to make this. Basically, he wrote. It's a programmer who wrote logs for programs, right?
Right.
These were not designed for
No.
support. They were
Okay.
designed for him to
So
debug
I'm
the
gonna ask
system.
Dan. Can somehow Dave be put to task to translate and simplify this stuff for more efficient support? Because
Right.
Okay.
it's brain surgery. It's absolute brain
Yeah.
surgery.
All right.
Trying to figure out what their intentions are, what buttons they're pushing.
And then the other thing that I think will help us, and this is, it should be possible, is that when he's building out the calendar, because again, I just got off the phone with Dave, and he said that's still his primary focus is the calendar. If in the calendar that he's building, there's a back end tool for us, like how much easier would it be with this guy if we could go through and see every single trade that occurred in CMD,
Exactly.
split them out to the individual fill, and there's no way he's going to be able to do a performance metric without at least having that data. If he could give us that data, then
So
like
adding the
it.
cal add
Hello. Do I have everybody?
Hi.
Sorry about that. We're brokerage plus stuff, and it just takes forever.
No, that's fine.
So I have a stream going on YouTube. I'm gonna drop a link for it now, and then you'll be able to see what I'm doing from there. Find this link. Sorry about that. We're brokerage plus stuff, and it just takes forever. So I have a stream. All right, that will get you looking at my screen.
So should we get off of Slack, or is there gonna be feedback?
Um, I don't think just if you have just mute the sound in YouTube, and that should take care of it. Yeah, if everybody just has it muted in YouTube. And then, do you want me to start like with the basics when you first load TI and start to go from there? Do you guys want to just poke questions at me?
I think we should start from the very beginning, as if we're like brand new to trade ideas. How do you log in? Just and then probably beneficial to just record it because Rose being so new and maybe even Taylor might want to go back and watch it.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so the whole purpose of this is just to kind of introduce trade ideas, explain the software and how it works, and if anyone like Rose or even Kelly, Taylor, if you have any questions, we can ask Chris during the session. It's going to be a little similar to what we were doing with Back to Basics with Michael Nas. Um, so I think we're going to focus more on learning the software in the beginning, and then maybe incorporate some trading questions along the way.
All right, sounds good. So when the users first start up anything, what they're actually going to get, or they should get, uh, 999 times out of 1,000, is the social media channel will load. So this right here will pop up, minus brokerage plus. Um, change my source. There we go. So that's what they'll see right there. This page right here. With all these windows that open like this here. And they'll have to come, first thing they have to do is come to account and log in. And this is the login that's right here. Case sensitive, that seems to be the issue with everybody. Same with password. And once they do that and they press OK, they'll be connected. They'll have this green ball up here, and they can see their latency or the MS that's there. And they'll also know that they have live data because these here, the T windows, which we call or refer to as the top lists, they'll be populated with data right away. They differ from the A windows that are over here, the alert windows, is these recycle to a server every 30 seconds and return back all the stocks that meet the specific criteria of that window, whether it be this T window or top list or one the users created or anything like that. But this is what Trade Ideas looks like right out of the box. On occasions, they do start, and I have a video actually that covers this where for some reason it looks like this, and all they have to do is grab and shrink that, and that's it. And they can size any of that. From there, I mean, you have the entire channel bar layout. So each one has a theme, and I just finished a document actually that goes over every single channel with a decent amount of detail. A lot of the channels start to become repetitive. We could probably eliminate half of them, but the document, I'll drop it in support after this. Andy and Bill are still going through and editing it, but I mean, the general synopsis is there of everything that might give you guys some more troubleshooting questions as far as that kind of stuff goes. And then, if nothing else, a lot of the channels are kind of self-explanatory. When users are asking, do you have this filter? Do you have that filter? Once anybody starts to get a hang of how the software actually operates, it's not too tough to find things. What starts to become tough is the trader speak or how the filters actually work. But any one of these windows here that populate, these are all ticker symbols that are coming through where you see symbol. So any one of these windows, if we right click them, you get this whole list of things here that you can select from, and configure is where anybody wants to come. And right across the top here is every single tab that you want to look at for finding anything that the scan is doing or can doing. So if you want to see what the scan is doing, we'll start again just in case. If we right click and we come to configure, we come to summary. And it's giving us a summary of what this entire scan is doing. So first off, the name of the window, unusual social activity. The alerts in this window, meaning the event that has to happen for it to trigger, are these two here. And if you ever have a question what any of these are, so for example, stocks twit activity, we right click it and it gives us help. And it's going to take us to our web page, which loads on another screen. And so that loads here, and it tells me stock twits activity, blah, blah, blah about it. And you can do that with any single one of these, not just the alerts, but these filters too. So there's a difference between the alerts and the filters. Alerts means something happened, a new high on the day, a new low on the day. For example, running up has a specific set of algorithms. You don't need to understand what they mean. It just means that whatever this says here, the stock did this specific thing here. And that's why that alert triggered. And not only did that specific thing, but all these other filters here were satisfied as well. So these filters have values that the user or yourself can set, where these are just static. They're set. This is what they are. This is what they do. There's no altering this here. Each one of these can be altered. That comes in a tab called the Windows specific filter here. So if we look, these are all the filters that are met. So this is telling me that the stock had to have its volume today, had to have traded at least 1,000 shares. The change from when the stock market closed yesterday, or when the stock itself closed yesterday, has to be a minimum of 5% up. So you have a minimum and maximum value that are there. Then the stock from the open of today changed 0.5%, and however StockTwits activity is measured is at least 200% of normal. And again, we can go to a right click and help, and that'll tell us whatever's here. All the definitions are in there of everything that we have. So I'm going to stop there, and if someone has a question or wants me to go back over any of that, throw it at me.
So you're saying, I mean, I kind of already know, but when you right click over that particular filter that you were just showing, that you can dive into a little more help on the website, right?
Exactly. And I mean, look, there are times that people are coming to us in support, even the traders, and they're asking, some of these guys, they want really crazy advanced stuff. They're probably someone that has some technical math degree and blah, 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 blah. And they're trying to get all this stuff, and drop them that filter. And after that, just tell them the algorithms or the coding that is behind it. That's proprietary. You're not getting it. It's just that simple. Whatever Brad and Phil and whoever else came up with to code that stuff, we're not handing that out to anybody. This is what you get out of the box, more or less. So, just you can shut them down that way if, they're really pursuing anything like that. And then just one other filter or one other function that I'll throw out there right away, we'll guide into it, is everything we have when you come into the alert configure, or even a topless configure, is going to be in search. Every single thing. So when you're in the search, you can filter by category, all these things like this. So just always make sure that if you're looking for something you don't find it, that it's on all for filters and alerts. And then you can also search anything too. So if you're like, oh, a question about RSI, boom. That's every single filter that we have on RSI. If it exists for us, it's right here. And then once again, you can click on any one of these, and you have the right click help. And in the search tab, you also have, if you click on it, help here, same exact thing. I'm going to bring it to you right there and explain to you what a 1 minute RSI means and what a 15-minute RSI, so on and so forth. And I'll take another second there if Rose or Kelly or anybody has a question, or Taylor.
I don't think I have a question.
Okay, so like I said, in the alert windows, there's two things that need to be satisfied. So we have the filters that are here, then we have the alerts. And in this selected alerts tab is what the selected alerts are. So in here, just like we saw in the summary, you have StockTwits activity and running up. In the selected alerts, you can see those two are checked. New high is there, but it's not checked. And here there are also values that were added to this to further narrow down how those alerts are specifically satisfied. I won't get into the technicals of that or anything right now. I think it's better just to show you what exists, and then we can come back to how it functions. So that's how the alert windows work in a twofold, in a sense of the alert is the event, and the filters are what's guiding more or less the information that's coming out to that alert. If we close that out and we come, so that's an A window or an alert window. If we close that out and we do the same thing here on a T window or a top list and we come to configure, you're going to see we don't have the alert here, that alert tab, selected alerts. And when we come to search, at the beginning of the alert search, every single thing at the top was an alert where all we have is filters, and take it one step further on the category, all we have is filters to go by. There's no alerts and filters like it did on that other tab here. And then we come back to summary and the same concept here. This is all the filters that it's doing. There's a lot more information in here, but I won't overload you here. But there's, things that do come up that you might see in a chat where someone's like, well, my pre-market scan isn't showing me anything, and it only has the filters that are allowed in pre-market. Well, the next question that I go to is, well, what data are you sorting on? So for example, there's certain, even though a filter might not be in the scan, if they're sorting on that filter, they're not going to see what they're looking for. So these are just some of the troubleshooting things that we go through. And then just a quick rundown on the rest of the tabs. A symbols list is essentially either a list that Trade Ideas itself has created for a set of stocks or sectors, or one that a user has created. So once again, they might not have a certain list selected, and it's filtering in or filtering out specific stocks. That might be why they're not seeing something. And the same thing goes for the exchanges here. Here are all the exchanges that we look at. Here you have Canada. These are what you call like the outside the major exchanges here when people are looking at the pink sheets or OTC stocks. And then you have the major exchanges right here, the NYSE, the NASDAQ, and the Amex.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, maybe there's a delay on mine, but you were talking, but it wasn't showing me the exchanges. It was showing me the symbol list tab. So I was curious.
Can you see the exchanges now?
Now it's on the exchanges tab, but you were talking
Oh,
and
it's
you were,
okay.
and I just wasn't sure if like maybe there was
It might be like a 10-second YouTube delay. That might be what it is. So,
probably what it is.
all right, I'll slow that down too then for you. Sorry. Um,
That's no problem.
Yeah, I
But I
think
do
I
have a
got
question.
lost in the middle of us on some of it because I started noticing it a while back that you would go over something that you weren't quite there yet, if that makes sense.
yeah, no, it does. Sorry, I didn't realize with YouTube. Maybe next time we'll do something different than YouTube for the stream. I'm thinking. I'm sorry. So you had a question, Kelly?
Yeah, so is it the same layout for the web version?
Yeah. So when we come to the web, I can even load that for you too here.
Okay, cool. And then there's nothing missing? You said
Nothing.
that there's that a few things missing.
Yeah, nothing as far as that out of the box goes. So if we come to web, let's take a second to load.
And Shantae, I just added you since you asked, but you'll have to follow that link that Chris dropped in the YouTube channel. I mean, into the Slack channel.
So am I caught up on the feed?
It looks like you're logging in right now.
Okay. So it'll load up in a second here, and it's going to come right to the social media channel because I don't have any layout. I don't use the web only to troubleshoot when someone has an issue with the web. So it's going to load right up to the social media channel, just like any user right out of the box would use. And everything on the channel bar should be exactly the same, minus the WORP and Brokerage Plus channels. I do believe, unless they didn't add the SPAC yet. I can't remember if it wasn't there. I don't know if that was added or not. Yeah, it looks like they still didn't add SPAC. Okay, so everything else I do believe is there, though, with the exception of the SPAC channel. But it's all the same stuff. Now, what has changed here is at the top you'll see it's going to be, I'm going to minimize the web for 1 second. At the top you see you have File, New, Tools, Windows, Help, Account on the app. And when we get over to the web, you'll see as it pops back up, you're only going to have new and tools. You're going to see all the rest of them are gone. But everything is in there essentially in just those three, basically. So if, the reset connection, um, all that should be there.
So are there any huge differences between the two versions?
Uh, the big differences that seem to make the most difference to the users is going to be A, no brokerage plus, which means no automation. B, there is no text to speech for any of the alerts, including Holly. So, she won't speak the symbols in this. And there's also no external linking, which is essentially it's a copy paste program that says when I click a symbol in Trade Ideas, it's going to load in my brokerage if I'm linked to my brokerage, whether it's TD, which mostly everybody uses Thinkorswim from TD, Trader Workstation, which everybody calls TWS from IB. I don't see a lot of Fidelity people, but they have what's called Active Trader Pro, which is what they would be linked to. E-Trade, which will be a lot of stuff coming from E-Trade as we go live with the API from them. API just means basically that Brokerage Plus links directly so that you can click a symbol in Trade Ideas and trade it through E-Trade essentially, because the brokerages are the ones that hold the orders. We can send the orders directly to the brokerage with Brokerage Plus essentially. So, but other than that, I don't think there's anything else that's not there that I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, I lied. One other thing. If you look on the taskbar for the app, you're going to see the volume up here. I have an extra mine because I don't use any sound in Trade Ideas. So that's a universal volume in Trade Ideas, and it's always a good troubleshooting point if someone doesn't have sound. When you come over back to the web, we don't have a universal one. I guess Bill and Kathy were discussing putting one in for the web, so hopefully that will be at some point. That's the only other thing that I can think that's missing. The feel,
Channels are there, right? Like
yeah,
it used to be that the channel bar was limited in the web version.
yeah.
Sounds like these days it has everything that the application has.
Yep, the only thing missing is the SPAC channel, which Brad is aware of, so whenever he gets around to adding it, I guess he's the gatekeeper of the channel bar. Everything else is there, though, as far as I know. The only other thing that changes now is there's a little. The feel and look is different here, but same kind of idea. You right click a scan, configure pop out. Um,
We're still in that lag, so we can't see
yeah,
it yet.
I'm going to leave it up now. So, but I right clicked, you'll see it pop up. You're going to see a right click. I did the unusual social activity alert window, and that's going to come up. And like I said, it just has just a different feel, but everything else is exactly the same there. You're going to see all the same tabs, summary.
So you just have to, when you right click, you have to pop it out, and that's going to let you make the changes and move the window around and
Yep,
whatnot.
exactly. And then as we click through, the same, all the same tabs. Like I said, it's just a little. It's a little different of a feel of it. So instead of having, in the app it had the selected alerts tab. Here it's just going to be an alerts tab, and you see a check in anything that's selected for those alerts, and then you'll see all the other possible alerts, but they're all unselected as I scroll down, and I'll wait for that to catch up for you guys to be able to visualize what I'm talking about, and then I'll scroll back up again to what's selected. But more or less, everything is a right click inside of Trade Ideas. A right click to configure or change anything like that. And, the left click is clicking on a symbol or clicking on a chart. So, and then the same concept in the filters tab. Um, you can see what filters. Now, I don't know what the reason or logic is behind it, but when someone goes to start a new scan, no matter what, there are going to be values and a few different filters. It's the same ones every single time. It's just the default that happens, so that is what it is.
I have a question that maybe, I mean, when I started working here, there was only a alert window. So
Yep.
we've come a long way since then, and now there's different types of windows. Maybe you could get into the differences, like of what an alert window is, what a top load window is, and like what the multi-strategy window is. Or maybe that could be for another session, but I do know that if you're not familiar with the type of windows, it can be a little confusing too because they are a little different.
Yeah, so the alert window is a twofold function. One is the actual alert, meaning the stock it did something. It made a new high, it made a new low, and then it also has filters. So it has alerts and filters that are so even though it's called an alert window, it has two sets of things that has to be satisfied for the stock to come through essentially. So I I think maybe doing something like this will work better. Where if we come to the selected alerts, probably the most popular alert that's used is going to be the new high. So if we come to back to I've come to the alert config and I selected new high, and if we come to the summary, it's going to tell us in the summary that basically the stock has to be making a new high on the day. And then if it's making a new high on the day and you see all these other filters that are down here satisfied, all these values that are created with them, then it'll turn back to the user in real time and time stamped that stock did exactly what you told me to look for at this exact time. And there are columns in the alert window that will show that. So I'm going to wait a second till it catches up. Then we're going to close the configure window and show where that timestamp is in the alert window. And I think it's watching on YouTube. It looks like it's catching back up. So I'm going to close that there. And then in this alert window here, I'm going to expand it out a little bit, make this all a little bit bigger. This is where you're going to see the time. So it was telling me that at 4:57 and 54 seconds Eastern Time on January 31st, 2021, BYND, Beyond Meat, met all the criterias of that scan. So it met the actual alert that it met was the running up, and then all those other filters that when we come into the configure and we go to the summary, these filters were also satisfied. So these two events both happened at the same time essentially. These filters were all being satisfied, and the stock twits or the running up is what happened right here. So as it loads on the screen here, I can see it coming up. So I'm with you guys. I can see what you're seeing now better. So there it is. These filters once again, that's what's those were all met at the same time the stock was meeting this running up now. And again, what does running up mean? Right click, help, and this is what it means here. So I'm going to wait for that to catch up again. And so then you can see there as it loads and it tells us, running up, the running up now alert, it notifies the user when a stock price is trading much faster than expected. And then it goes into detail of what that actually means here, based on 1 minute candlestick charts and so on and so forth. Once again, it's not real technical stuff that even I pay attention to as a trader, to be honest. Once I know if that's the alert that I want or anything, and this is something you could pass right on to, if they have a troubleshoot question as far as a user goes. If you're starting to create your own alerts and things like that, that's when I would dive more into this. But I'm not going to overload you or bore you with this kind of technical speak right now. And anyways, unless you have a real question about it. All right, so then I'll close that back down, and we will come to the topless window. So like I said, the alert window is two functions being satisfied at once, where the top list is only filters. There's no event that needs to happen, and that's why it cycles every 30 seconds, because it's not that the stock is making a new high or new low. We're simply asking this window, the T window here, which I'm going to bring the configure up now. Give a second to catch up. We're simply asking it just to look at all these filters. So, for example, one a set of filters that we have is a price filter. So if we're telling it to look at a stock between $5 and $10. If that stock drops to $4.99, the next time in that 30 seconds that those filters cycle back through our server, our data server, that stock will no longer be on that list because it dropped out of it. And then 30 seconds later, if that stock goes back to $5.02, it will come back on to that list essentially. That's just one filter. Now we can start to add a whole combination of filters, and I don't know why it's just sitting there loading and loading and loading. Um, oh, because I'm not on the web, that's why. Sorry, hold on. So reset connection. All right. So we should catch up in a second here. So like I said, only the filters need to be satisfied in the topless window, and every 30 seconds they go back and forth to the server updating them. So you should see it pop up now, and you're going to see I'm going to come to the Windows Specific Filters tab, and that's everything that this scan is doing. This is it. So in order for this scan won't populate one stock until it's traded 1,000 shares today. And then the next thing it will do, we have to look at, is the change from close, meaning that whatever stocks are doing, it's only going to show me stocks that are 0.2% above where they closed yesterday. And then the other thing it's going to look at is the stock twits activity, and that's at 750 minimum. Again, a right click, what does that mean? When we right click, this is what it means. And I'm spending a lot of time on the social media channel, which I don't think you're going to have a lot of troubleshooting in that specific channel. And as you move forward, if you decide to start to utilize the software to trade yourself, it most likely will not be something that you're spending a lot of time on. I think everybody that becomes an actual user of Trade Ideas starts to find their niche, what they look for in stocks. But, finding that niche is a process, and that is something where, as anybody goes through the channels, what do I like to look at in charts and things like that? That kind of just comes with seat time and looking at charts and things like that. But the idea is just showing you what filters are and how you can understand how those filters work essentially. And you can do this with every single filter. So, just as an example for myself, I like to look at stocks with lower volumes, breaking out of certain ranges and things like that. So I have my scans that are more or less set up for that type of thing. But that was something that, I came to over a couple of years of refining what I'm doing more or less. So, quote unquote, finding yourself as a trader, that's a whole process in itself that, we can go into, down the road here. I think just for now, how to navigate the actual softwares will stay for now. So that's essentially the big difference between the T list and the T windows and the A windows is, like I said, the A windows are two function. The stock has to be making some sort of event plus these filters, where the T windows are only the filters, and there's no timestamp to the T windows as well. If we close here, I'm going to wait for this to catch up, and I'm going to expand here. Not showing me how I wanted it to.
Topless windows update like every 30 seconds.
Every 30 seconds. So if you look here, I don't know how well you can see it, but at the top it says bullish social sentiment next to the T there. You're going to see a timestamp there. That's a 30-second timestamp. So right now it's on 5:04 and 39 seconds to 5:08, 5:05 and 8 seconds is what you'll see it as when it comes through. And then a few seconds later, you're going to see it update, and it'll go from 5:05 and 9 seconds to 5:05 and 38 seconds. So it's telling you the time frame that it's working within, that these stocks met exactly that filter criteria that was set there. I know that I don't know what everybody's schedule is or anything like that. So if anybody is has to drop or go or anything like that, we can leave it there, or I can keep going. I have nowhere to be or anything else to do. So
I mean, 30 minutes is probably a good time to, you know, I mean, it's up to you ladies, but if we want to keep them roughly around 30 minutes each time and just, leave around 2 or, if it's running a little late, that's fine. But I know it's like we covered a lot within, 30 minutes or so. So maybe, maybe we want to, have a stopping point around now.
Yeah, 30 minutes worth. I actually have an appointment, so and I don't want to miss any of it.
Well, we'll record. I think it's recorded.
Are you
yeah, I recorded this on OBS.
okay?
So
My kids were getting picked up and I was moving, so I missed the whole beginning. Anyway.
okay, so well, either way, I've recorded all of this, so we can go back over it. And I mean, during the day also, I mean, I can always do a screen share in Slack if not much else is going on. I mean, I know we have our slow times or anything like that too. So, and I have my moments that I'm actively trading, and then I have moments I'm not doing anything, as far as trading goes too. So, you can always, message me in Slack, and if nothing, if none of us have anything going on, I'm happy to go over something just personally at that time too.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, yeah, of
Thank
course.
you for giving us
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
a rundown. Rose, is this clicking? I mean, is this making sense? Or
Yeah,
okay.
it all makes sense. But if I wanted to do any homework on the off time, is there anything you would suggest looking into in particular, or just kind of looking around and trying to get a hold of the software?
I'll drop you a whole mess of links, and you can just kind of go through them on your time. And some of it'll be about like Holly and whatever else. Some might you find you some you might find kind of trader-ish that might not make sense, and some of it more direct, learning the software itself. But you can go through them in your time or anything like that. And I mean, if anybody else wants the links, I'll drop them too. It's what I drop to new users essentially always.
Yeah, maybe just drop them in this thread
Yeah,
that we have going. And then, I did want to mention, Chris, that all of us have Macs, so it probably would be beneficial to continue doing the trainings in the web version,
sure.
unless you're going to go over like Brokerage Plus or something
Uh,
that web version we don't have.
I mean, Brokerage Plus is pretty advanced, so I don't think there's any need to go over it yet. I'd say that would be more if anybody starts to, really get their ambitions up and are looking to place trades, then we would move over to Brokerage Plus. And at that point, if you're on the Mac, we're probably going to need to bring Michael Noss in for an Amazon Workstation session or something like that, because that's all a little further out from me.
Yeah, he did that with us before. We did
Okay,
do that, but yeah, we just kind of didn't know what we were doing. We were doing the simulated and we were making trades, but I don't know. I felt like we didn't really know what we were doing.
gotcha.
Yeah, I think we kind of went in without having a basis of understanding, like, well, just the software itself. And there was probably, you know, less of us that knew how to use the software. You know what I mean? So it was just like maybe a lot of our heads too in general, but because it was mostly on trading, but we didn't understand how to use the software, I think that there was like a disconnect there. But like I feel like as we learn how to use the software more and you can explain it, maybe down the road we can start having like some trader questions, trader 101 stuff.
Absolutely. And as it is in the world that we live in right now, I don't have a whole lot to do other than homeschooling and this. So, like I said, I'm free most of the time.
Well, cool. Well, thanks again, Chris. Yeah, feel free to paste any links in there. I'd like to check it out too on some free time. So.
You got it. All right, I dropped them in that in the one that we're all in here. I don't know. I think I just see Kelly, Marissa, Rose, and Taylor in there. So I don't know if oh, is there a second one now?
Yeah. I added her to the call, but maybe it didn't add her to the actual thread.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, and I have this as a recording, so we can edit it or anything like that too. So, all right, I know someone's got to run for appointments and things like that, so I'll let you all go.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care, guys. Yep, you're welcome. Bye bye.